Hey everyone, Judson here from Kootenay Backcountry Guides, December 12th, State of the Snowpack Update. Just reminding everybody to come on out and see us on December 20th, 2022, 7 p.m. at the Royal. Let's have a pre-Christmas and hopefully post-Powder Day celebration and connect in person. This State of the Snowpack is going to be a bigger overview, more like the last one I did, and we'll dive right in. So, episode topics. We're going to cover the current conditions. We're going to cover the Avalanche Canada Bulletin for December 12th, snowpack updates, our notable layers, profiles, and avalanches, and finally, my thoughts on the next couple of weeks. So, current conditions. It was an incredible weekend with 45 centimeters of low density POW happening at Whitewater on opening day. Red Mountain also opened up, and everyone was generally stoked. The riding and skiing was incredible. Uh, Skies cleared on Sunday, and we had warmer temperatures, which increased the slab properties in the snowpack. People probably noticed that on Sunday. A little bit thicker, a little bit heavier. Had to get some more speed to move through that. This also elevated the avalanche risk and slightly decreased the riding quality. The sun was Sunday was still epic, but not quite as epic as Friday and Saturday. So this is what created those conditions here. We got our temperature graph taken from Kootenay Pass and the snow. So here's the snow coming in. Snowed pretty heavy from sort of the night of the 8th right through into the 11th and then tailed off. But what we do see is we had nice cold temps through the weekend. That's that blower POW happening, but then that steady increase as the storm ended. And that's what thickened up the snow as of yesterday, Sunday, December 11th. So Avalanche Canada Bulletin right now, our region here is they've got us lumped in over with the Valhallas as well, north of Kootenay Lake. That's where the flexible forecast region is at the moment. And we end at over here on Kootenay Lake. So this is the region that I'm talking about right now. Pretty similar conditions, though, across the interior. We do have a buried weak layer, which continues to be reactive to natural and human triggering, particularly at treeline elevation. Watch for signs of instability, woofing, hollow sounds, shooting cracks, and recent avalanches. All of that was going on this weekend. Pretty much everyone who was out there was probably getting whoops. Maybe they were even happening inbounds. Very spooky stuff. Hazard rating is considerable in the alpine, considerable at treeline, and considerable below treeline. Moving into Tuesday, it is the same forecasted to stay at considerable, moderate. This is quite accurate. I find they're bang on at the moment with these danger ratings. The problems we have, the number one problem they're talking about is the persistent slab. This is a weak layer of surface horn facets from mid-November. It's down 50 to 80. This is the layer that's collapsing. You're getting that whoops on. That's where the majority of the avalanche activity is happening. Through the weekend, there was large and surprising remote-triggered avalanches occurred on that layer. More on that later. Use extra caution at treeline where this layer is more prominent and look for signs of instability, like shooting cracks, those whoops in recent avalanches, and be aware that smaller avalanches within the recent storm snow may step down. Go on the Avalanche Canada site. They have a great blog on there talking about this concerning layer and how to manage it. This layer is, I'm going to go on about it throughout this episode here. It is a concern. I have seen a few of these similar to this, and they are challenging to manage. So the next one is the storm slab. So this storm slab is sitting on also a layer of surface hoar down about 30 to 40. And it's sitting on this weekend snow. All that beautiful POW that happened landed on a layer of surface hoar. The warm temperatures on Sunday created a more cohesive and reactive slab. They're cautioning look out for wind-loaded slopes at higher elevations on north north and east facing terrain. We did notice that on the weekend. We did have some wind slabs we were noting. Don't forget the storm slabs could step down. So step down means you start an avalanche on this layer and then it triggers one of the deeper layers in the snowpack. So the avalanche summary, Saturday, skier accidental, size 2 is reported in Whitewater. We're going to talk about that. The avalanche released on mid-November, persistent weak layer, and had a crown of 100 centimeters deep. Numerous remotely triggered avalanches, meaning you're triggering an avalanche from up to 100 meters away. They were reported throughout the region, up to size 2 throughout the weekend. These avalanches either failed on the November layers or stepped down from a smaller avalanche onto these deeper instabilities. It was reported on all aspects from 1,800 meters all the way up to 2,300 meters, mostly on sparsely treed terrain, and persistent slab avalanches are also triggered by explosives 70 to 100. And then on Sunday, explosives continued to trigger numerous slab avalanches up to size 2 in the recent storm snow. So moving on to our snowpack depths. This is our snowpack chart that measures the water equivalency. So this is not depth, this is water equivalency. I find this really interesting because it shows how much water is in the snowpack. And we see last year's graph here is this green line. You can see we're way behind in water content but that from last year. And that's mostly because a lot of our water content early season came from those massive rain events we got. That rain still is captured by this because there was snow on the ground. And so those big crusts we had at the beginning of the year last year that we hated, and the skiing still and riding at this point last year wasn't very good. We just had a lot of water content making the snowpack relatively strong, whereas this year we're right about on our historical average, right smack in the middle of it with our water equivalency. As we go through this next drought that's forecast to happen, we're going to go below average on our snowpack water equivalency. And again, really what this measures in our world of avalanches is the solidity of the snowpack. Those of you who are out there are going to notice right now that the snowpack is not very solid. So we'll get into that later and why that is. Snowpack depth. So there's about 100 centimeters at 1,500 meters at Whitewater. Not bad, not bad at all. We have 137 at 2,000 meters at Whitewater. Again, not so bad, about average. And 113 centimeters at 1,800 meters at Kootenay Pass, and 130 to 140 at 2,000 meters at Kootenay Pass. Moving over to Roslyn, they've got about 95 centimeters to a meter at 2,000 meters. And there's 150 centimeters at 2,100 meters of the redfish plot in Kootenay. This is a decent start to our season. Some of the best early season, at least powder conditions I've seen in a long time. It has certainly been powdery out there, and excellent riding for the last little while here. Fun has been had by all. So the snowpack quality, coverage is average or slightly above average. Several weak layers. The lower snowpack is highly faceted, meaning that it's weak and sugary. We'll get into that moving on. The snowpack is starting to settle and gain strength over these weak layers. So the notable layers we have going on in our snowpack are December 5th surface hoar, the November 26th surface hoar, mid-November interface, that's surface hoar that's 10 to 20 millimeters, facets that are 1 to 2 millimeters, and a melt freeze crust that's 1 to 2 centimeters thick, and it is starting to break down and facet out and get less strong. Below that, there's basal facets to the ground, and you may find the occasional crust down there. Picture here on the right here is a photo of the December 5th surface hoar that right before it was buried. I took these pictures on December 4th. So profile, just having a quick look at the general profile that's going on. Obviously, this is a point observation, but it's pretty similar in most places that I've gone. This is at 1,858 meters on Cornice Ridge up at Kootenay Pass. I'd say pretty similar what I'm seeing around in Whitewater. And for those of you who aren't familiar with this, we have the snowpack height going from 0 up to 130, so 130 centimeters height. And then each layer here is noted basically on the strength of the layer. The further over on this axis it is, the stronger the layer is. The further it is over this way, the weaker it is. So we can see we've got weak, nice, powdery snow sitting on the top. That's no problem. That's what we want. In some places there is now a surface crust from yesterday, and there probably will be today on south aspects. So you'll find a melt freeze crust that's going on the surface. And then as we move down, we can see that it progressively gets stiffer as it moves down. But the real problem is this layer that's sitting right here is our surface hoar and facet layer. So this is the surface hoar, and you can see it's very, very weak. It's sitting on facets. They're slightly stronger than it, but then underneath we have this ice lens. So here's our slab we have, here's the weak layer, and then we have a couple bed surfaces. This could either collapse on the facets or surface hoar. We've been finding mostly it's been this surface hoar. This is the mid-November surface hoar sitting right here. And here we have our other layer of surface hoar down about 40. And so it's about 85 centimeters off the ground, generally 40-ish below the surface. That will shrink as things settle here. So it might be it might be down 30 in the next couple days here. And the concern again is that this layer here, this layer could collapse, causing this layer to collapse. But the majority of issues that we're seeing out there in our snowpack are all failing on the surface hoar and facet layer. So notable avalanches. So all these appear to be releasing on the mid-November interface. If not, they have certainly started on the December 5th and then stepped down to that layer from mid-November. So Prospector. So there was an avalanche a couple of days ago in Prospector Bowl. This is the bowl that's right behind Catch Basin, one of the more popular areas in the Whitewater Backcountry. I don't have an exact location on it. Because I don't have that shared through MINS or anything like that. This bowl was heavily ridden previously. That's what's kind of interesting about it. Lots of tracks going through, incredibly popular run, and so a slab pulled out in previously skied terrain. I ran into a solo skier about 10 days ago, said it was all good to go in there because there were tracks on the slope. So if you're that person, you were proven wrong here. Prospector is treated often. I hear people talking about it as if it's like inbounds or this is somehow slack country. This is not. There's no slack country in the backcountry. This is not that. This isn't controlled by Whitewater Patrol. This is backcountry. So you can cause an avalanche, obviously, on previously skied terrain. This layer doesn't seem to care too much how many tracks are on it, and it is in the backcountry. So treat Prospector as such, and all lines in the backcountry as if they could have avalanches on them. So our next slide we noted here was actually on the ecstasy feature. So this is Whales back here. This is a very prominent feature, popular run in the Whitewater Backcountry. And the slide that got noted is somewhere along in ecstasy. I didn't get to see it because I wasn't at Whitewater yesterday. Some folks did send me a photo of it, and it will be prominent, and you will be able to see it. So there is the picture of it. That looks to me like it is at least 80 centimeters, maybe a meter deep in here, wind-loaded pocket, and just showing you the potential of the propagation of this layer. Definitely minimum a size 2, big enough to bury, injure, or kill you out there. This was naturally caused, not a skier-caused accident. The next up, we have the Muffin. So the Muffin is on the south side of Kootenay Pass. Twin Lakes is down in here, and here is the Muffin, just to give you a bit of an overview. And the feature that pulled out was in here somewhere. This was a skier accidental avalanche. A couple of our guides ran into him. We got a couple sparse details. They claimed that they skier controlled it. I don't really know. I don't see a min report in there. So if you're out there and you cause an avalanche, please share it. Share the details. Let us know. No one here is judging you. As well as that Prospector one, apparently they ended up having to do a bit of a search and look around. If you trigger something in Whitewater Backcountry, why not go in and just let Patrol know about it? Let them know that you're safe safe, and let them know that it occurred. That just helps keep everybody safe. And share it in a min report. We're at the point in our culture where I really hope people aren't going to judge others and get angry at them for causing avalanches and talking about it. We want to share our incidents, keep everybody safe. So all in all with this, what this is telling me here is that the bulletin's like spot on. These avalanches are occurring. This layer is prominent. It's everywhere. I haven't had a chance to get into the Alpine. If you've been up in the Alpine, let us know what you're finding. Is this layer there? I've seen this layer all the way up in Kootenay range when I was touring up there. I've seen it all the way down to Kootenay Pass. It's all the way up to Revelstoke, in fact, and this layer is going to be with us for a little while. So moving on, yeah, exactly. This layer is not going anywhere in a while. Avalanche activity. What is going to happen in my prediction, I'm just predicting here, is that avalanche activity is likely to decrease. However, this doesn't mean that the tiger has died. It is sitting there waiting. That layer isn't going anywhere. Just because you're not seeing as much avalanche activity does not mean that you cannot trigger this layer. So over the next while, it looks like we're going to have some cold temps moving forward. The weather models are all agreeing with these -8 to lowest looks like -13 with no snow. Ugh. So we're going to get into a drought here. What's going to happen is it's just going to become tougher and tougher to trigger that layer, and it'll potentially be sitting there primed for human triggering. So a lot of people are asking, hey, how do you support us? You can support us by joining one of our courses. If you want to hang out with me and nerd out over right before New Year's, I have 2 spots left on our AST2, which is December 28th to 31st. Please support us by sharing your observations in a min report. Share this video. Hit that like button. If you're seeing it on YouTube, subscribe to us on YouTube. Please like a comment. Let us know how we can improve. What do you like? What don't you like? And come on out December 20th live at the Royal. We're going to be there. We got a special guest coming in. It's going to be an awesome night. Hoping to have a whole bunch. We will have a whole lot of fun. And it's always my favorite event of the year, this kickoff State of the Snowpack. So I look forward to seeing you all out there. Keep it safe. Keep it mellow for the next little while. This layer isn't going anywhere. And I just hope to see everyone in the backcountry, smiles on their faces, having a great time. Bye for now.